Morning, my Teaserking family. How are you on a Saturday morning? I think we're supposed to get hit with a shitload of snow later, but I'm not sure. I'm the kind who I look out. If it's snowing, it's snowing. If it isn't, it isn't. One second. So, I think we need to clean up some stuff here. So, first of all, if we look at our paper gold price and our paper silver price, paper gold ended yesterday at 28.83. Paper silver 32.15. Why do I call it paper? Because it's fucking based on derivatives, which is not based on free market. What does that mean, Professor? Well, a derivative is like an option in the fact it's leveraged 4% down, a physical gold, 96% of bullshit paper. And I got my shirt on backwards. No wonder I was uncomfortable. It's funny how I felt a little bit different. I'm going, God, this shirt's tight. So a derivative is a way of speculating that you'll make more money if it goes up than if you just, like if you do an option in stock, you can buy Microsoft at $100, or you can leverage it and use buy 100 shares, or you can buy 1,000 shares using credit. Very, very risky. It's like using credit at a casino. So if you're playing, this second. All right, so let's say you're playing craps, and you need $5,000 to play craps. You go on credit. You say, "Yeah, can I get a $5,000 marker?" And if your credit's good, they give you $5,000. You use that to play craps with, because you need a lot of money in craps because you're playing the numbers. So if you play $50 a number, there's 5 numbers plus your pass plus your odds, and then the odds on the numbers, which you can buy, or you play the come line. Either way, it's a lot of money. So you get a credit. That's what you're doing with the option or derivative. You're using credit to buy more shares in the case of an option, in the case of derivative. But options are extremely risky, which is why it's so bullshit. These what all the banks are doing with gold and silver, because it's a very risky play. You're saying, take Apple stock. Let's say it's 110. Well, if you do an option and if you do a call option, you want the price to go up. your target price is going to be like 130, and you have 3 months to hit the 130 or you lose your option. And if it doesn't go up, you lose your option. And 99% of the options you lose because they're all probably manipulated. Now, on the other hand, you can do you can do a put option, put down. You're at it's 110. You want it to go. You think it's going to go down to 90 because you think the market's going to crash. So you do a put option down to 90, and again, you have a certain amount of time, and you want to be in the money, which means so if it's 110, it's got to hit 90 or below, and then you buy it. But if it never hits 90, you lose. So if you're playing craps, you're taking out credit, and with the credit, you're going to go ahead and you're going to gamble it, and you hope you hit it. That's the difference, right? You hope borrowing the money, but if you lose, you owe them the money back, and that's what options and derivatives are. It's sort of like you're borrowing money to play. Me, I never do that. If I don't have the money, I'm not playing, and I never borrow to bet football or play craps or play poker. If I don't have the money in my safe, I'm not using it. The only thing I'll do is buy gold on credit or silver on with the credit card because I know it's going to go up and I know it's worth more. And the inflated dollars I'm going to pay the credit card back is worth it. You do want to have credit, and in times of heavy inflation, which is what we have now, because you're paying back in inflated dollars. The dollars aren't worth as much as what you borrowed. So if you borrow $1,000 today, you go on a trip and you pay for it with the credit card. So let's say it's $1,000 to fly to Europe. You pay them back 6 months later. The $1,000 you're paying them back with is worth $700, $600. So it's a good thing to do. Just make sure you pay it back. So what's going on in the market? So as we had somebody come into class yesterday, ask about, he thought gold was down 35%. I think it was down $35. Yeah, I got it down here, $34. So the first thing you got to realize about comex. So what I want to do is explain what's happening, because people get scared when they're losing money or it's going down and you don't know why. And so you're going to come to me and go, what's happening? You're panicking. Oh my God, So I'm here to say, don't panic. So in gold, you see it's at 29.40. So there's 3 sections of comex. There's based on the time. So by 6 o'clock to 2 in the morning, it's China, Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore, maybe Japan. From about, I want to say 2 in the morning till 10 o'clock, or maybe 4 in the morning till 10 o'clock is Europe, mostly London, maybe Germany, but mostly London. And then from 10 o'clock to 5, this is closed at 5:15, it's the US's turn. So they take turns. Well, China's buying because they want to buy the gold. Hey, Pat, good morning. I hope you're well. So as Pat knows, in Singapore, it's a different time. They're playing comex. They're more likely to buy. The price is more likely to go up. Just a second. Cooking my pita. So then you get to London, and London wants the price to go down because they're price fixing it with JP Morgan, the Bank of London, and the LBMA. They're playing the Ponzi scheme. They're the Madoffs. They are in the game not for the gold to go take delivery, but to just play the game without real gold. That's what they've been doing since 1971. That's why it needs to be blown up, because it's not how do we analyze it? That's why you cannot do a technical analysis on gold and silver on comex, because it can't work. So with that said, I think the biggest thing you must understand is 100% of all the banks, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, the Chases, the London, are all fixed. They're all phony. The Bank of China, people had $1 million in their bank. They tried to get out and they wouldn't only give them 5,000. Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, all over the world, all the banks are fake. Deutsche Bank, Italian Bank, Switzerland, they're all phony. It's all a scam. They run the governments. The bankers are the most powerful. George Soros is the most powerful banker with Jamie Dimon. So when they do a bailout, don't be so surprised that they bail out the banks and they don't bail out you. Madoff, why didn't they bail out all the people that lost money? Why didn't they just bail out the people that lost, the people who made, keep it? And off you go. But they didn't do that. And now they're printing the money to nothing. But they don't know they're doing it. They're all idiots. So when we look at comex, so when we see this isn't real. First of all, it's paper gold. So this price of $28.82, we know is not real. It's the paper price based on derivatives, which are basically options, pricing the gold. It doesn't matter how much central banks buying is pushing the demand up. But this 28.82 is a joke. It is not the real price. It's the fake paper controlled manipulated price. So when you get worried when you see it going from 29.40 down to 28.82, the way a derivative or option works, when it's really high at 29.40, people will do put downs. They want the price to go down. So they're going, oh, we'll sell at 29.40. We'll buy it at 28.82. We'll make $60 an option, which is what happens. Then on Sunday night, China comes in and they start buying. And then before 4 in the morning, it goes back to 29.20. Depends how much they're buying. And when that happens, there goes the price up. Because the price has been knocked down, now it's a steal at 28.82. So they do the derivatives. And people, and part of the reason they let it go is now China can buy gold at 28.82 instead of 29.40. But it keeps going because there's way too much demand for it. As we saw, it go from 2,600 to 2,700 to 2,800 to 2,900. The demand just keeps going. And then they play this little game, JP Morgan in London, and we'll do our derivative to make money on the derivative because they're too stupid to just buy the gold and make a ton of money on the demand of the gold. All right, let me get my PIVA. All right, cut it just before it burnt. So that's what's happening. This is not somebody buying a lot of gold or silver, forcing the product. This was not silver being sold here or gold being sold here. Right? Nobody sold an ounce of gold. Nobody's stupid enough. People at our level who are buying the gold because it's to get out of the dollar because of the inflation and the dollar having no value are not selling our gold at this price. It doesn't make sense. It's too low. The price we know is much higher because this price has been pushed down. And where do I get it from? I get it from right here. Look at this price, 29.28 down to 28.82. What's that? It's not free market. Nobody's selling. What's driving it down? JP Morgan, London doing derivatives. This is mostly JP Morgan. It's mostly London at 6 o'clock, starts it. And then at 10 o'clock, you can see JP Morgan knock it down, and then they just keep it down the rest of the day. That's not real. The price isn't real. And they're doing it to make money on the derivative going down until the next day when people bet on the derivative going up. So then they'll do a call option going, we want the price to go up. So they keep playing this imaginary game of paper derivative options up and down. I think there's an algorithm involved, which is, I hate algorithms. I hate analytics because it's all bullshit. When you lose control, there's a big problem. So in analytics, if we got to go for it on fourth down, we got to go for two because analytics says so, then you might as well fire that coach. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no concept of the game. He's only doing what a chimp could do. Well, analytics says we should go for it. What do you think? You're the fucking coach. Don't you know what to do? So I think what happens is sometimes the algorithm pushes the price down, not really the seller, but it pushes it up also. So what you're looking at here, you should not be afraid of. It's a way that they're making money. The banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, London, are just taking advantage of the high price. It ran so high from 28 to 29.40 that there was no backup at 2,900, at 29.20. They will be, and that's what happens. So people buy the gold at these cheap prices, and then when they do the derivatives, it only goes down 5 or 10. But that first time when it really goes up to 29.40, and we're all happy thinking, here comes 3,000, then they start with the derivatives and they start pushing the price down. And this is what happens. So they push the price down on a derivative, but not to push the price down just to make money on the derivatives. The problem in silver is they've done all these derivatives at 20, 22, 24. And like I said, with the casino, you got to pay them back. So let's say you owe Caesar's Palace, you owe $2 million from something you did 2 years ago, and you still haven't paid them. That's what the silver derivatives are. So if the price goes to 35 and they have to pay off the derivatives, they can't. They did too much credit and they don't have the money. That's why silver's not going up, because once it hits a magic number, they have to pay off these old derivatives, these old loans, and they're fucked. With gold, it's the same thing, but there's too much buying on gold from all the central banks and everybody wanting to get off the US dollar, and they want to join BRICS, but they don't trust Russia and China, but they do trust gold. So that's where you have all this buying coming from in the gold. But that's set up as a Basel III, which means you must deliver your gold, but it's not there in silver. And until it is, silver's not going to run, because if they let it run, then they lose all this money. So they can't lose all the money. So notice it was 33. I'll show you the silver chart. It was 33.40 yesterday, going to 35. And then it was panic time. So look where this was. This was 33.40. And notice at the same time, about 8:30, it starts going down. And notice the 10 o'clock drop from JP Morgan. It's 33.17. They knocked it down a whole dollar to 32.23, eventually settling at 32.15. And this is all derivatives. So if you're worried about, what's happening? Should I sell my gold? Should I, should I start worrying? No, you don't worry about gold, because the fundamental reason you're in it And the most important reason is because this isn't worth anything. So if this isn't worth anything, you don't want to hold this. So then you look around and you go, well, what should I hold? And I give you two options. You hold this, you hold Rolex, or you hold gold. Those are your options. That's all you can do. Yes, I've switched Mahomes for Montana. Mahomes, he's useless. He didn't three-peat. He didn't win the Super Bowl. Fuck him if he can't three-peat. So I got Montana out there. I believe they would have three-peated if he didn't get hurt in the Giants game. Late in the game, he broke his wrist by Leonard Marshall on a cheap hit. And Steve Young came in and choked it away big time. So Montana doesn't get hurt. I think they three-peat. Anyway, so you have to get out of the dollar. Now, I know the Keynesians, the MMT, they'll call them idiots, say, oh, you can keep printing. You can't go bankrupt. Anybody telling you can't go bankrupt has to be the dumbest person in the world. Everybody can go bankrupt. Every government can go bankrupt. California is bankrupt. A lot of the countries are bankrupt. Germany went bankrupt. Rome went bankrupt. France and England went bankrupt. Venezuela is bankrupt. Zimbabwe went bankrupt. Greece went bankrupt. Sri Lanka went bankrupt. Pakistan, Brazil, Argentina. That's what it is. Their money's worthless. They're bankrupt. So I don't know what you're looking at that you don't think a country can go bankrupt. Just because we're the reserve currency, if our money's not worth anything because we printed it to death, it's bankrupt. So that's why we stay in gold, because we know gold, even though we know the price is fixed, we know it still has a value. And we know and this has been my point, since this isn't really selling and this is just keeping the price, this is manipulating the price. Well, we know that's not the real price. So when I tell you to go buy it at 28.82, 28.82 is a fictional price. It's a fantasy price. It's not a real price, because a real price is this worth 110, because on eBay I can sell it for 110. So if I'm selling it and there's a real buyer, that's the real free market buy price of it. So it's really worth 110 here. Since it's not a real price and people are not selling it and buying it for this price, and these are all options and derivatives knocking the price lower, not free market, this is not a real price. And this is my thesis. Therefore, this did not go down because of demand. So it's worth more. We know it's worth at least $29.40, but I'm going to argue that price is bullshit, because the 28.82 is bullshit. 28.82 is just derivatives. It's not free market. It's not what the real physical is worth. So therefore, if you do this all the time and you keep knocking it down, what's the price? You have no idea what the price is. It's not 28.82. It's 10 times higher. Maybe it's 5 times higher. Maybe it's 20 times higher. It's higher because in a free market where there's buyers and sellers and somebody buying it, then that's what it is. That's the value of it, right? What people are willing to buy and sell for. So the real price, 110,000, 100,000, let's say. And there's a few different markets. Some of them are 90, some's 120. In that ballpark, it's about $100,000 card. But that's because somebody's willing to buy it at that price, makes it free market, makes it a fair price. If they did derivatives on this card, it would be $5. And then we'd buy as many as we can, because we know $5 is not the real price. Just as gold is not the real price. But that's the secondary reason you're buying it. The first reason is when you get off the Titanic, when the dollar is worth nothing, you have no choice. If this is worth nothing, but you can still go to the grocery store and book vacations and hotels, and you can still use it as money, even though it really has no value. because the government's forcing the people to take it. But like I say, in Teaserking, you pay me for football picks. First thing I do is go to the bank, transfer to the bank, and go buy gold and silver with it. So in effect, I'm getting paid gold and silver for my football picks, even though I'm taking dollars because I can't take gold and silver. I could if you wanted to mail it to me, but basically that's what it is. And but you have to buy physical. You cannot buy ETFs, stocks, IRAs, anything you don't take delivery of. You'll never get the delivery of it, and therefore you don't want to take it. So I implore you to stay away from ETFs. They're just a Ponzi scheme. The people selling them, like the Sprott guy, should be treated like Madoff. He's running a Ponzi scheme, and he needs to be put in jail. Because they'll sell it like, well, yeah, we're setting the price of the ETF at the real physical price of gold. And they're trying to sell it that you actually own gold, which you don't. And you'll never get it because they'll never give it up because they don't have the gold. They don't have any gold. That's why I laugh when they go, well, we're getting ETF gold from London. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no ETF. London doesn't have gold, and the ETF doesn't have gold. What are you talking about? So let's keep that in mind. The only gold you should get is physical because you hold it, right? This is what I have a problem with Bitcoin and all digital. This I have in my hand. Try to hold a Bitcoin in your hand. Try to figure out what a Bitcoin is or anything digital. It's all Ponzi scheme because it's not real. It might have a value of 90. I saw 90,000 yesterday. It might have a value of 90,000, but it's not real. I guess try to sell it. And then how do you get the money? How do you get the 90 grand? It goes into your wallet. Now what do? You can't get it. You can't use it. You can't pay for things. That's the problem. So you always want the physical. You want physical gold. You want real Montana cards. You want real gold and silver, not derivatives, not ETF, none of that. If you get that, you're fucked because you don't have real. And then when the price goes out, you're gonna be just screwed because you think, well, I got 50 ounces of gold in my ETF. Try to get it. You'll never get it because they don't have it to give you. And that's the Ponzi scheme. They're selling you as if they have it. You think you have it, but what they do is they maybe have 1 ounce, or maybe they have 1 ton, 32,000 ounces. Maybe they have that, but they got 1 million customers going after the 32,000 ounces. Well, they're not going to give any of that to them. They're going to keep it, and you can't get it because there's more than one person with each ounce, if the ounces are even there. So again, 32,000 does not divide into 1 million equally. So this is the problem, and this is what you must understand and think logically of. So when we look at COMEX, it's all derivatives. It's not physical. It is not eBay. We pray that gold was on eBay, and they used eBay to price it. But the problem on eBay is they're looking at this COMEX price of $28.82. And that's what they're selling the gold for, is the $28.82 price, not just doing free market auctions. But the problem is, since some of these idiots are actually selling it at $28.82 plus probably $3,000, I can't sell it at $10,000 because at $10,000, I can't. What am I going to do? Nobody's going to buy it from me because they're all going to buy it for $3,000. So the sellers are just stores that are looking at COMEX and using that as the price because they're basically idiots. but we buy it. So as I showed yesterday, which I really liked, if the ribs are $45, the market's only 30, you can't sell it because you're trying to sell where there's no market. However, if in gold and silver, I'm willing to pay for gold $5,000 because I got to get out of the dollar, and I don't care what gold's at. I got to accumulate gold because I know gold can't be inflated because you can't print it. But what's happening, Batman, is it's sitting there at 28.82, but I'm willing to pay 5,000 for it. So I buy as much as I can because this price doesn't make any sense. It should be where the market's at. Same with silver. $32. I'm willing to pay $100 an ounce for silver. And it's going for 32. Again, why aren't they at demand? Because they're not playing that. It should be $100 an ounce silver, and that's what comex should be, what the market's willing to pay. And it would be even higher because since the dollar has no value, people don't care what the price is. They're just trying to buy it. So I just want to, so if I go to the gold store now, how much is it? Well, I know it's going to be 100 over spot, so it'd be 29.82. Okay, not a problem. I'm not worried that it was 2,500 and now it's 2,900. Is it going to go down? Because it's not. It's going up by demand, but it's not going down by demand or lack of demand. So if you go to the grocery store, and we see it all the time, right? Cheerios, buy one, get one half off. Or my dark chocolate, it's 30% off. And it's because they can't sell it at that price because the market doesn't go that high. Nobody wants to pay $2.99 for 2-liter Coke, but they will pay buy one, get one free or get a half, I think it's buy one, get the second one half off. So it lowers the price down to about $2. And that's where the market is. So that's where the demand is. But the $2.99 is not based on demand because they would sell it there. So why do they have to keep putting it on sale? Because there is no demand. Why they raised the price that high is beyond me because there's no demand for it. This is the problem with the price fixed market. This is what Adam Smith's telling us. Let the market tell you where everything goes. The market will tell you supply and demand. The market will tell you price. That's what the market does. So this is what we must understand, which we do about comex. So when you see comex drop, it's a buying opportunity. It's not going to cave in because there's nowhere else to be anyway. You have to get out of your dollar. And you're either in here or you're in Rolex or you're in gold and silver. Those are your choices. Or if you got $1 million for a Picasso or a Van Gogh. But in the real world, it's the cards, the Rolex, or gold and silver. Now, silver should be $100, is selling at 32. This is the biggest thing I've ever seen. Let me do it this way. So the demand's up here and the price is kept down, which is extremely unusual. And if you understand economics after listening to me, I hope you do. And if you don't, we're going to redo it. This should equal demand, right? Demand, price. The price people are willing to pay is $100 and you got it at 32. Why is the price 32, not 100? Why are they keeping the price at 32 when the demand will give you 100 for it? Only complete idiots and banks and JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are this stupid, right? They're the only ones this stupid who keep the price under market. And then they keep trying to tell you, what they're trying to tell you is, oh, the market's $32 for silver. That's what they're trying to say is the market's 32 and we're selling it at 32. This is what comex is trying to tell you, that this is the market, right? Our price is at the market. We're at equilibrium. This is what the snow job they're trying to tell you, and why they all should be in prison, is only morons keep the price below demand. So if demand's 100, price should be 100. Not only that, demand should lead the price up. So if you would let people buy it, and then whatever they're buying it for, the price goes up, that's what should happen in a free market. You don't have that here. You have the demand going to the roof, but JP Morgan wants to do derivatives, keep the price down. I have no idea why he's this stupid. Why do you want to keep the price down if you can sell it for this? That would be like saying, well, I can sell this for 100,000, but I'm going to sell it. I'm only going to put it on auction for 10,000. I know I could get 100, but why would I want to get 100 for that card that I know that's worth 100? I'm only going to take 10. That's about how stupid this is. And so they do derivatives because there's no free market. There's no buying and selling by the public to creating these prices. So all we know, when you see the price go down, this is why I say it's a buying opportunity. So I'm selling this for 10,000, and you know it's worth 100. I like this way better. You know this is worth 100. So if it's 10, automatically buying it because the demand's here. Because we can see on eBay they're buying it for 100 grand. And so with gold and silver, because you're inflating this to zero, creates a huge demand for gold and silver. It has to, because you can't stay in this. It isn't worth anything. Oh, the U.S. can't go bankrupt, and you can just keep printing money because you're the reserve currency. Bunch of bullshit. These people should also be in jail for spreading lies to keep whatever. That's bullshit. This, you can and have printed it to nothing. As Egon says, it's lost 99% of its value. I say it's already lost 100%, but because the stores have to take it, they're still taking it. I'm sure in Germany, if we remember the wheelbarrow going to the grocery store full to buy milk and eggs, the store had to take it, right? That's why they did. They didn't want to take it. It was worthless. But the store, so I imagine the cashiers that day at the Farmer Jack's in Berlin, oh, my drawers, they probably didn't even have drawers for the cash. They probably just had garbage bags, and they just threw it into the garbage bag. Well, here I got 12 garbage bags. I sold 5 gallons of milk. So they had to take it, right? So that's what's happening here. The stores have to take your money because the government's forcing them to. But it doesn't mean the money has value. And like I say, I know people, there's a auto parts place, my guy at Toyota says he runs and buys gold every day. I said, just pay your bills first, and then the extra. You don't want to sell your gold to pay your bills. You want to pay your bills and the extra. That's what I do. I get my paycheck, I pay my bills, and then the rest I buy gold and silver with. I keep a little extra cash because I don't want to sell gold for my bills if I don't have to. So we will see. But we know the real value of, this is why I say $20,000 gold, because they keep pushing it down. But I believe the market will I think people will spend $20,000 on an ounce because the demand will push them to. Because this is not just the U.S., this is every currency. This is the euro. This is the dollar, right? This currency is worthless. This currency is worthless. If I had a Swiss franc, that currency would be worthless. If I had a British pound, that currency, the yuan, the ruble, the yen, every currency, India is worthless. Because none of them are backed by gold, they're automatically worthless. They're just toilet paper. You're just using paper, but if you're not backing the paper with gold or silver, it has no value. Even though it has a nice picture of a president and it's got a number on it, it's 100. The 100 won't buy anything. That's what I keep saying is the problem, but they don't keep score of the dollar. They do keep score of gold. Here's the scoreboard of gold and silvers right here. Look, gold's worth 28.82 in fantasy land. In reality, it's probably 28,000 because man has kept going up and people need to pay whatever it costs to get out of the dollar. You need gold and silver. That's your only solution. And therefore, you don't care what it costs. Look at me. I was paying 17. I paid 250 for this, and then years later it was 1,500, it was 1,700, it was 2,000, it was 2,500. I just paid 2,900. It doesn't matter. You have to accumulate the gold. It doesn't matter what the price is. It's irrelevant, the price. So you could charge me 10 grand, and if I had 10 grand, I'd buy an ounce. I'd probably buy a quarter ounce for 2,500. And that's where we're headed, because as people realize the dollar's worthless, and you look around, I can't get into the euro or the British pound or the Swiss franc because they're also not backed by gold. And that's what makes BRICS intriguing, is they're the ones who understand this, which is shocking enough. And they're the ones buying all the gold: Russia, China, India, UAE, Saudi Arabia. We know South Africa has. And then here comes new countries into it, and they're all buying gold. And to do it, they just print, because they all have printing presses. So they print, they buy the gold, and it should be pushing the gold price up. And everywhere else in the world, in their currencies, the gold price is at record highs. But since we do comex and we are the only ones stupid enough to price fix it, I really don't understand any plausible idea of price fixing at this level. All right, maybe earlier, once it hits 2,000, fellas, cat's out of the bag. Now you were at 29.40. The cat's out of the bag, fellas. What are you doing? We're shorting. Now you're losing trillions of dollars shorting your derivatives, hoping the price goes down. But the way the game's played is, if I shorted at 29.40, and then it goes down to 28.80, I buy it. But if I shorted it at 2,600 and I got to buy it at 2,500 and it never goes back there, the derivative's over. The option's done. I have to pay up. And that's the part of the game that I don't understand, why they're still doing it when clearly the demand is so high that the price will never go down. So please do not worry. And please make sure you read it right. He thought it was 35%. It was $35, which is basically down 28.82. Or it'll still be 3,000, 3,500 soon. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind also, that this is not physical. People aren't selling. Nobody in their right mind is selling. They're all accumulating. So when you see this is just fake derivatives pushing the prices down. Probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and makes no sense. So please keep that in mind. So do not worry when the comex drops. It's a buying opportunity, because your goal now, as is mine, as is ours, our family, is to accumulate as much gold and silver, especially silver at $32, as you can, because the demand created by BRICS and all these other ones will push the price much higher. So you have really no risk in the portfolio. It's sitting there at 32. You can go buy as much as you want at 32. You have no risk. It's not going down. It might drop a little based on the derivatives, but the key to economics is supply and demand. What the hell does that mean, Professor? If there's more people that want it than there is supply, so if I have, we'll go to my Barry card. So this is a Barry Sanders. real pretty card. Bowman Gold, it's called. And there's only 99 of them. So that's your supply number is 99. That's all there is. 99 of these of Berry and Emmett and Montana and Marino. So because there's only 99, if we have more than 99 demand or buyers, the price has to go up because people want it and they can't get it because there's only 99. With all the dollars and everything being very limited, gold and silver, gold, you only have 200,000 tons, of which 199,000 tons are already gone to the Chinese, the Russians, the Indians, and the rest of the BRIC people. So there is not a lot of demand. So when people want to buy it, the price goes up. And the demand for the gold and the silver is much higher than the supply. So the price has to go up. So when it doesn't make any sense what's happening here, because what you have this is like the Super Bowl, right? They had 70,000 tickets. They sell them at once. Then the brokers get in, and then other people want it, and they're willing to pay $5,000 a ticket to sit at the 50-yard line because they can't get the tickets from the Superdome or the NFL because it's all rigged anyway. So they pay more than the face value because they can't. The demand's there, but the supply isn't. And that's what you have in gold and silver. More people want it, but there's less supply. So again, that's why this makes no sense, because the demand for gold and silver is much higher than the supply. So you say, why did silver go from 33.40 to 32.15? How could that possibly happen when the demand for silver is higher than the supply for silver? It can't. In a real world, it can only happen in this fictitious Lord of the Rings world where Sauron does derivatives to knock the price down, because that's JP Morgan, right? He's Sauron and he's knocking the price down because he's a fucking idiot, I guess. It serves no purpose except to keep. They'll have to pay off the derivatives, maybe at 35. I'm not sure how that works. That really makes no sense to me. I mean, if they owe, because they got derivatives at 25 and it never going down to, I guess it must be expiration date. It must not have expired yet. I don't know how long they're out for, but so they're trying to get down to get out of their positions, but it can't. There's too much buying. So they're holding it down, even though demand is oversupply and the price should be going up. So they're trying to get out of their positions. That's why it's not going up. That's the only reason why it's not going up. There's way more demand than supply. And you got me hollering, buy, 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 because there's more demand than supply. The price has to go up. They're doing their best to keep the price down, but it's not anybody selling. Nobody's selling silver at $32 now, except for this one idiot I worked with who got into a annuity for 9%, selling her silver because silver doesn't move. I looked at her and I said, did you listen to your financial planner? And she says, yeah. I said, you better fire him. This could be the dumbest financial planner I've ever seen in my life. I would love to talk to these idiots. These are just morons. They don't care. They're in it for the commission, and the people that get hurt are people, our friends and family who don't understand gold and silver, and they don't understand the dollar's worthless. I call these my 401k friends or Luke's friends, where you don't have the understanding. Is stocks going up? No, there's the demand for stocks are down. It's the same thing. The government's printing money to keep the stock market up. It's not supply and demand. So our government in the U.S. is basically communist. You can see all the buyouts and all the lobbyists paying them. It's all corrupt. You got George Soros running it, who wants to blow it up. So what you have is a very disturbed, corrupt government, as you see Trump seeing, oh, US aid is corrupt and they did this. Well, you don't need to. You can just go to the whole government is corrupt and you have to get rid of the whole government. We don't need it. We don't want corrupt. It's like comex being corrupt. We want to know what the real price of gold and silver is. We know what the real price of Montana jerky is, but we do not know what gold and silver is. All we know is it's much higher because they're trying to keep the price down because they want you to play in their game, which is stocks and bonds, and real estate trust, sit your money in the bank and get an annuity and all that bullshit. And people don't know, and they have no idea that the cliff's about 20 feet and you're walking right to the edge of the cliff and you're about to go over. And you have no idea, but when we tell you you're walking over the cliff, you don't hear it. It's almost like what's the Greek thing with the nymphs who sing really loud, and it kind of hypnotizes you, and then you sink your boat into the rocks because the nymphs are singing, and so you're under the hypnosis, and that's exactly what's happening here. Well, I have $500,000 in 401k, but it's not worth anything. So really, that's what's happening. So in comex, please do not worry about the price of gold and silver. It eventually will go to free market. Eventually, it'll go to 110, right? Yeah, I'm going to sell this Montana for 10,000. I'd have a line a mile long going, I'll take it because it's worth 110 or 100. But why would I be stupid enough to sell it for 10 grand if it's worth 100 grand? Only a freaking idiot would do that. Not any normal person. So this is what you have with JP Morgan and maybe Goldman Sachs, now that I see how corrupt they are. Mostly JP Morgan. London's out of gold. The US has got the gold in to cover their derivatives that they stupidly did. This is the problem with algorithms. The algorithm set up, if the dollar goes up, we sell gold. But the variable changed where now everybody's buying gold, and it's totally irrelevant to what's going on with the dollar, because all the other currencies are losing value. So the dollar goes up because the euro's worth less, or the pound's worth less, or the won's worth. So that makes the dollar more valuable. No, it doesn't. The dollar has no value in its own. It doesn't matter. So what would that be saying is, well, since the Montana went up, the Berry goes down. They have nothing to do with each other. There's Montana fans, there's Berry fans. This is his rookie card. This is 99. So this has nothing to do with each other, except for they do compete, but really differently. This is not a $100,000 card. I don't know, maybe it's $1,000. This is a $100,000 card as a 10, which this looks like it very well could be. So but somebody who wants this is a Montana guy, and somebody who wants this is a Berry guy. Nothing to do with each other. So the fact that these other dollars are being printed to death makes the dollar stronger, does not make gold weaker. They're totally unrelated. However, we know the value of the dollars drop, so that's why we go into gold and silver as our safe haven. As far as it being an inflation hedge, it's an asset. Is this an inflation hedge? So as the dollar becomes worthless, does this hold its value? And I say yes. Even though it won't be worth 100,000 when the dollar goes out, it will be worth whatever as we change prices to gold. Right? So when we get rid of this, so this goes away, and now we've got dollars backed by gold. Everything kind of goes back. Like I said, the Zimbabwe, the old one, a dollar bought you 30,000 Zimbabwe's. Then they came out with the ZIG, and it was gold back, and all of a sudden the dollar bought you 10 ZIGs. Went from 30,000 to 10. So if we carry this out, let's say you have a $300,000 house, goes to 10,000. But it's gold, not monopoly money. And so really you're doing fine with it, but you don't think you are because you're still pricing it in monopoly money. So COMEX is based on derivatives, not free market, like eBay. Prices go up and down is just them making money on the derivatives. It is not an eBay. I wish it was. That's what we're all hoping for. Again, I don't really get the advantage of them keeping the price down at this point. They should be buying and buying and buying. The U.S. is bringing it in. I don't know if they're buying. Maybe that's why they are lowering the price to keep it in. But all that does is attract buyers. Because if I'm Russia or China, and I understand this game, when it drops to 28.82, I'm loading up. Great, let's buy more. And I'm willing to buy up to, 3,500 or probably more. Let's just keep buying gold and silver till there isn't any more left because we can't lose. It's a sure bet. It's a lock. Gold and silver will go up. So always when it goes down, think of this as a buying opportunity because there's no reason for it to be going down. Nobody in their right mind, and we hope only people in the right mind are buying gold and silver, are selling it. Nobody's selling an ounce of silver at this price, except for that one idiot I used to work with. There's no way you are selling silver to get $32 for it. It's going to be worth $1,000. You're going to take 32, and you need the money anyway because this is worth zero, so you can't hold it. All right. So that's derivatives, COMEX, gold. What else did I put in my title? Gold reevaluation. COMEX, we explained brics derivatives. And we'll get to the NFL. A gold revaluation and brics. So brics we've talked about. It's all these countries wanting to get off of the U.S. dollar and have their own dollar because of sanctions, because of they don't want U.S. dollars. I mean, I would think really the bottom line is I don't want dollars. That's why I want brics because we're going to deal in gold. Why do I want the U.S. dollar? They're our trading partner. What do they make? We don't make anything. We have banks. We don't make anything. We don't sell oil, which you can get from Russia and India. All the manufacturing is done by China and India. I'm not buying anything from the U.S. Tennis shoes are made in China and clothes are all made in China. So what am I trading with the U.S. for? So I'm not. So therefore, what subject am I talking about? This is brics. We got to talk gold revaluation. All right. So if I'm in brics, I really don't need or want to trade with the U.S. Now, I do want them to buy my goods, but really do I? Because their money I don't want is not worth anything. The country's bankrupt. Are they even going to be able to buy anything from me? And if I'm Russia and China, you've already sanctioned me. So why am I doing business? It's like the bully. You just ignore the bully, and the bully hates it. But if somebody's threatening you, you ignore them, and it kills them. So why do I want to deal with the U.S.? So if I want to be in BRICS and I want to trade oil, I'm China, I want to trade oil with Russia and India, we're going to use gold and then they're going to buy stuff from me. So it's perfect. And we're all going to trade in gold backed currency because it's the only thing that makes sense. Because we see what happens with this when it isn't backed by gold, we see this turns into zero. We understand that lesson. We're buying all the gold, China with 80,000 tons, Russia 25,000, India 30. Saudi probably another 10, 15, and down the list. The UAE and South Africa and Brazil, they all have gold. We're all going to trade in gold. There's no other option. We don't want Brazilian dollars. They don't want rubles. We don't want yuan. We don't want that. The only reason China will have the reserve currency would be because they have 80,000 tons of gold. I love when people don't, they act stupid and they don't, well, I don't know what China has. Look at the central bank. They got 2,000 tons of gold, Joey. And you're like, no, they got 80,000. Try listening to Egon and Mark McGuire. That's why we listen to Egon and Mark McGuire. So, do I really want to trade with the U.S.? There's nothing in it for me. I'm not going to buy their oil. I'm not buying their heating. I'm not buying. They don't sell anything. I really don't want a Ford or a GM. So there's nothing for me to buy at that store, the U.S. store. So I'm not going to buy from them. Now they're going to buy from me, but I don't really want their dollar because it's worthless. I want to sell in gold and silver. I don't want to buy their debt. I don't want to trade with them. There's nothing positive about the U.S. at this point because George Soros has broken it out. I showed you the George Soros video. He backed Obama twice, Hillary Clinton, and Biden. So who's been running this country? As I said, it's been George Soros. Trump assigns a George Soros finance guy to be the treasurer. How's that going to turn out? You think it'll turn out good for George Soros, not for the U.S.? I can't believe Trump's this stupid, but maybe that's how Trump got elected. Soros, well, I'll get you elected, but you got to hire my finance guy to destroy your dollar. And that's what he's doing, I guess. So that's what BRICS is. It's just to trade outside of it's really a trading group, right? I'm going to buy your oil. You give me fur. I'm going to buy tennis shoes. You give me golf clubs. It's all just trade. It's going to different stores. But we're going to use a common currency, which will be gold. And that's it. That's what BRICS is. They're all buying gold. That's why the demand for gold, that's why the price is up. And that's not stopping ever because they don't want dollars. And I don't blame them. We don't want dollars either. I don't want my dollar. This is worth nothing. This is worth 1 cent. What the fuck do I want it for? So if I get it, I'm either going to get this or I'm going to get gold and silver, or if I like Rolexes or if I like Picassos. I'm getting out of the dollar into that. It is not in the stocks, Bitcoin, or annuities or real estate trust. I don't want to be in any of those because I'm still in the dollar with those. And that's why they keep gold low. I think that's their most basic reason is they don't tell you this is worthless, but you think, well, I can't go into gold and silver, it's worthless. Look at the return I get on the stock market or annuities or Bitcoin. How Bitcoin got to 100,000 is the biggest scam I've ever seen. The whole crypto is just a Ponzi scheme because it doesn't exist. There isn't any. Um, Just a second. All right, so just like so that's what BRICS is. It's just a trade group, but they're smart enough to go on the gold-backed currency. That's why they're accumulating the gold, raises the price because of the demand. Yet nobody wants to say BRICS, even though that's the reason the gold's going up. As anything will go up, it's based on demand. And with low supply, that's what makes it go up. So we know that's what's going up, and off we go with it. So now we get to gold revaluation. I've got here in my title. I explained comex. I explained derivatives, gold revaluation, and then the NFL. So gold revaluation, what is it? Well, since you're fucking around with gold and you're keeping it from free market prices. So in other words, if the demand for gold is 10,000 an ounce, but you're keeping the price down at zero, this is what we should get for 10,000, but it's priced at 2,800. Why isn't it priced at demand, at market, which is where it should be, which every other good or item is? Why isn't it? So the revaluation of gold is knocking it up to here because you're fucking around with derivatives, causing it to not be you've lost the real price of it. And that's really what the problem is. You've lost the price. You've dipped around with derivatives so much that you've lost this. You don't know what this is, and you're dicking around with derivatives going up and down. You've lost the market. The market's up here. So in reverse, Toyota sells their cars at 35,000 for a Camry, and the market says no. The market's down here at 25. So Toyota then has to equal where the market is. Same thing with ribs. They want to sell the ribs at $45. The market's at 30. There's nobody to buy at this level. You have to come down. But this is the most unusual thing where the market's up here and your price is down here. So you've lost the market. You don't know where this is. How the fuck do you sell gold and silver and you don't know what the price is? This is what they're doing. So to revalue it, you're going to say, well, we're going to just change the price to the market. They don't know where the market is. Well, they'll make it 3,000. They can't make it 3,000 because that's not where the market is. The market's much higher, and they don't understand that. So they don't know where to reprice it at. Again, the 2,882 or 2,940 or 2,900 for gold is not the market. It's strictly where the derivatives are at. So the market's pushing the price up, but then the derivatives come in and go 2,882 without anybody selling. You can't say the market's 2,882. You can't say it's 2,940. You don't know where this is. right? Because you fucked around so much. You don't know what this is, and you know what this is, 2882, but you don't know what this is. Is this really 3,000? Is this really here? No, it's much higher. But we don't know what that is. We don't know what the real price of gold is or silver. It's more than this. I'd say 10 times more, but it's more because every time you do these stupid derivatives, the market was already buying it. So if the market's buying at 29.40, it's worth more. Well, we've heard they'll go up to 3,500. They'll go up to 5,000. So let's say it's 5,000. Let's say this is 5,000 and you're at 28.82. So what they should do is just let it run. Okay, get out of comex, get out of the derivatives, and just let the price run. And whatever the price goes to is whatever the price goes to. All right, so Dario's telling me her birthday's coming up soon. I think it's February 25th. We both forgot it was Valentine's Day yesterday. I thought it was the 15th. She forgot about it. And so I sent her a little, flowering, one of those gifts, Valentine with the roses and stuff. Anyway, so if you don't know the price of something, it's sort of like you have to auction it and see what you get for it. How do we know this is 100,000? Because we see 5 auctions where they're assuming they must have been sold at 100, where they offers for $100,000. That's the auctions. And if that's the auction, that's the value of it. Now it could be kicked up, but most of these are buy it now. So most of these auctions are that. But I assume that. What is the value of this card? Well, I don't know. We'd have to see if there's auctions. If there's not, being 99 count and being Barry Sanders and being in perfect condition, maybe 500, maybe 1,000. 99 count is not that limited, but it's nice that it's 99 count. That's why I laugh at Bitcoin being supposedly limited to 21 million, if we believe it's even real, and we believe it is limited to 21 million. So they're trying to call 21 million scarce. Well, compared to $150 trillion, it's scarce. Compared to this, 99, it ain't scarce, 21 million. So reevaluation is just trying to get to the market. It's really trying to get a higher gold price because your price on the books is $42. Why they're sleeping through that and not at least going off of comex, I don't know. Why there is comex, I get it early. Comex should not be there because it skews the price. So you're trying to dictate and price fix the gold by giving it this price, which is ridiculous, right? It's not really what you want to do in a free market. We're capitalists. We're not communists. That's what the communists would do. They would price fix things. We're not communists. We don't want price fixing. We want the market to tell us what things are worth. You have to have the market tell you what it's worth. If the market tells me this is $1,000, great. If it's 500, great. If it's a PSA 10 and it's $2,000, great. All I want to know is what's the value of this based on other auctions. If this is even in an auction, this is pretty rare. It is 99. It's not his rookie card. It's a nice Bowman card. There was a whole set in hockey, baseball, and football, and I got a lot in hockey, the Gretzky's and Lemieux, and I got a lot in in baseball, Ken Griffey and Cal Ripken and Frank Thomas and that. So that's what you're looking at. You want to know what the value of things are. What is the value of my Canadian club? Well, what's it selling for at the grocery store? That's the value. The value is what in a free market somebody sells something for and somebody buys something for. That's the free market price. Otherwise, how do you know what the value of? That's what prices are for, to tell you what things are worth. This is worth 1 cent because you see the prices in the grocery store and things are more expensive are telling you, oh shit, it's $3 for a broccoli bunch. Are you serious? It used to be 59 cents. So the price is telling you there's demand for broccoli, and it's telling you the dollar's not worth as much because it takes more dollars to buy your broccoli or your cauliflower or your celery or whatever the hell you're buying, or your tuna or your soups, Cheerios, Fruit Loops, whatever. And that's what prices are for. So you know, this way you know what something costs you. To make this $50, on the shelf, $80. I can get $80. It's going to cost me $50. I'm going to make it. That's why prices are important. That's the whole key to free market and free prices, and a free market system will tell you this. I can sell this for 75. Well, these are my costs, and per bottle, per unit, it's 50. So I'll go make it. I can make money. That's the beauty of the free market system. Yeah, I threw in an extra one for free market. So everything you need to know what it cost you, right? And that's why you buy sports cards, because there's high demand depending on the player. Oops, Barry Sanders 99, very limited. And then so the value is based on the limit, right? Oh, it's only 99 count. Oh, that Barry, I'll give you $1,000 for it. Oh, his rookie card that there's 1 million pro sets, it's worth maybe $100. So the prices are the indicators. They're what you need to understand what's going on, right? So that explains the value. What's the price of gold? We don't even know because it's fixed. It's not done by the market. What's the price of this? We don't have any idea what the value of this is. We have no idea at all. We know it's probably zero because based on how many you printed, there's no demand for it. And then we can see looking outside going, wait, all these countries are de-dollarizing because they don't want dollars, either because they're not worth anything or because of the bully attitude of we'll sanction you. Or in Russia's situation, we stole your $3 billion in rubles. And so, I'll keep my own stuff. Thank you. I'll buy gold, and then I'm going to value it myself, which is what there's a Russian exchange, a Chinese Shanghai exchange. There's one coming up in Dubai. There'll be a Dubai exchange. So there'll be a Moscow, Dubai, and Chinese pricing diamonds and precious metals. Why should you price this thing? Let the market price it. But since you're keeping it out of the market, this is worth 10 cents. This is what comex is, right? Well, it's 10 cents. Well, let me see. Let me run it in a market and see what I can really get for. I can only get $1,000 for it in the free market. So that's really what you're looking for. So the reevaluation of gold is because it's so fucked up, you don't know what the value is. Because you're not, here's demand and here's price. So you don't know what if demand's here, you don't know what the real price is. So you must revalue it, but you'll have no idea what to make it because 3,000 is not the price. I conservatively say the price is 20,000. Oh, Howard, what are you talking about? Well, because once these dollars go out, go to zero, they're already worthless. We know the only thing you can get into is gold. We see what BRICS is doing. All the central banks are buying gold. So we see this. We know that's what's happening. So that's what's going on. I want to price my own cards and my own gold and my own Canadian club. But it all comes back to what the market will pay. You cannot set a price. I can't say I want to sell this for 500 and nobody will buy it because the market's at 100. You can make the market 100. You can sell it under market if you're not sure. Well, they'll pay 100, but I'm only going to sell it for 75. So you don't know what the actual price of what they will pay for it is. So what will you pay for this? This is a rookie actor, Tom Brady. What will you pay for it? 30,000, 50,000. It's a perfect card. It's a rookie card. It's a refractor. It's Bowman Chrome. It's worth a ton. But we don't know the real price. And when we have an auction, we could have 10 auctions with 10 different prices, but we'll have a pretty close idea. And that's what you're really looking at is, so what will people pay for gold and silver? And what I'm saying is they'll pay any price because under the circumstances, this is worthless. So I really am buying gold and silver because I got to get out of this. If this is worthless and I have to get out of it, I'll pay whatever for gold and silver. I don't have a choice. I got to feed the family. I got to heat the house. So all that is going to be based on what I can get for it. What is my need? What is the demand? Why do I need gold and silver? Because the dollar is worthless. Even though they're not telling us the dollar is worthless, we know the dollar is worthless. BRICS is telling us the dollar is worthless. Why would BRICS even go to gold if the US dollar was so fabulous? They wouldn't. So knowing what BRICS is doing to get out of the dollar, they will do it at any, there's no other currency you can go to. You can only go to gold and silver. It's the only lifeboat out there, not life raft, Andy Sheckman. It's the only lifeboat out there. So because it's the only lifeboat, it's just, I'll buy it to buy it because I got to have it. So you could sell it for more because the demand is huge and more people will realize this, will need to buy it. Now, when they say, well, in the portfolio in America, it's 1% gold, it's really misleading. Here, most people have money. Most people buy stocks and 401ks because of the company. You own a house. So all your money basically goes into stock. Why would it go into gold? And only people like me who can read through all the bullshit, who realize, wait a minute, my dollar's worthless, my stocks are worthless, I need to get into gold. Only people like me would actually put it into gold. And so therefore, that's why you see most people in their, and the companies pay you in a 401k and match it. And so there's really no need for gold because most people don't realize the dollar's worthless. And that's why, but in Germany and in England and France and Russia and China, everybody realizes that they've seen their dollars go to zero. They know their dollars are crap. They're not going into stocks. That's why they're more into gold. But Egon doesn't really do a good job explaining that. He kind of laughs at it. Oh, the Americans don't get it. Oh, we get it. What we don't get is that the value of the dollar is worthless. I'll keep my money in 401k. And yet I took my money and put it in gold. So that's really the difference. So the repatronizing of the gold is simply to get it to market. It's not at market. It's not close to market, but they don't know what market is. Um, I think if they do the repatronizing, what's it called? The revaluation. So the gold revaluation is basically saying we're not in the market and we need to physically change it, not have the market change it. Basically, in English, is what the gold revaluation is. So you know it's fixed. So when you see the price drop, you know it's fixed, and you know they're going to revalue gold because we don't have anything else. We have a $36 trillion debt to pay off. How are we going to do that? Tariffs? I doubt you're going to get that kind of money because we don't have anything we sell. Food? Do we sell food? Maybe. Military? Is that we're gonna sell weapons? Is that where we're gonna get our tariffs from? We're gonna sell. That's about all we have to sell is military. So anyway, that's what we have. And it's a mess. But understand this. If you understand this, you're way ahead of the game. We'll pay $100 an ounce for silver and it's at 30. And you can't figure out why it's at 30. It's at 30 to keep you into the other areas, the stocks, the bonds, the real estate trust, the annuities. It's to keep you in that because that's where they really fuck everybody over is the commissions they get. And they've got control of your money there. And then you're all going to go broke when the stock market crashes. Oh, it won't crash. Yeah, keep believing that one. If this isn't worth anything, the stock market's crashed. Everything comes back to this. And when this has no value, how does the stock have a value? How does the company have a value? How does GM have a value when there's no dollars? Well, they got $10 billion in asset on their books. 10 billion what? Oh, dollar? Oh, but they're not worth anything. So their stocks have to be worthless. And that's what's coming around the corner. And as more people realize in the US, it's when you see the stock market crash is when you're going to see gold go. Because as I said, Luke's friend and my friend, they've got their money in 401ks. They don't realize they're worthless. You can't tell them they're worthless. Well, that's my retirement. I got 500 grand in there. It's worthless. But they don't understand and you can't tell them. So therefore, if you can't tell them, then what's going to happen? When they want to buy gold, it's too late. I keep telling my friend, well, no, it's my retirement. I don't want to pay taxes. Okay, it's worthless. So that's really, how do you explain that the dollar is worthless? Because you don't have the scorecard that you do in gold and silver and other commodities where you can see the prices there in dollars. So it takes $32 to buy an ounce of silver because there's a scorecard that says here's what silver's worth, but there's no scorecard to tell you that this is worthless. And they won't do a scorecard because they don't want to say it's worthless. And it becomes worthless when there's no demand. So when nobody wants it, it has no value. If nobody wants this, it's worth zero. Since it's his rookie card and it's a refractor, it's worth a lot. Okay, so that's the difference. It's worth a lot because of that versus there's no like Mark McGuire's cards or Sammy Sosa. Oh, he did drugs. I don't want it, which kills the price of the card. So when there's no demand for the dollar, because they're all going to brics and they're all dumping the treasuries and they're all going into gold, you have no thing. This Judy Shelton wants to do 50-year T-bills backed by gold. Who the hell wants that? I can just buy gold. Why do I want a 50-year? So I got to wait 50 years. And the fact it's backed by gold, why would I do that? Why would there be any demand for that? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why don't you just buy gold? I don't know why they're so against it. Most of the criminals, as we see in the government, can't steal gold, right? They can steal money. They can have J.P. Morgan print them up $1 million and just take it and steal it. And J.P. Morgan can print $1 million or $1 billion. Warren Buffett can get it printed, but they can't print gold and they can't steal the gold. That's why they don't want the gold standard. Meanwhile, we're broke. So understand the U.S. is broke. All right, and our last subject was the NFL. So again, here's your ending gold, 28.82. But you can see it's been 29.40, and it'll be 3,000 probably by the end of next week. This was 33.40. This will have a hell of a time getting to 35 because they don't want it to. They're ignoring the free market and they're price fixing it. All I can say is keep buying it because we know it's $1,000 an ounce and you just keep buying it. All right, let's go to Yahoo. Is there any news? See, I love this. Jason McCourty says Aaron Rodgers should retire. What are you still playing for? What kind of crap is that? If he wants to play, he plays. If these guys want to date 20-year-olds, date 20-year-olds. I mean, 20-year-olds aren't stupid either. They know the guy's got a lot of money. That's why they date him. Like, give women credit too. So he's playing because he wants to play. He's a great quarterback. Again, the Jets have a terrible offense. So with what's said is if I was him, I would go to Minnesota. You got Jefferson. You got a great defense. They probably could win a Super Bowl there. They'd be much better than Detroit with Aaron Rodgers, who beat Detroit senseless. And they have a great defense. So that's where I would go. I would go there. Pittsburgh doesn't have the defense. I'd go to Baltimore, but, they're not smart enough to take Rodgers and sit Lamar down or let him play wide receiver. Cleveland would be stupid. They suck. Denver's fine. San Diego's fine. Kansas City's fine. Oakland could use a quarterback, but we'll have to see what they're doing. He's got to go someplace that's close like Minnesota to really have a chance. But why would I retire? I'm going to make $30 million, and you want me to give that up? I can retire in 5 years like Brady did. He's in his 30s. Is Rodgers worth the trouble? Fuck that. They're painting a bad picture. Jay's claims Steelers calling about the Trevor Lawrence is ridiculous. Yeah, I would think that's stupid too. Why would anybody want Trevor Lawrence? He's terrible. So first of all, I wouldn't comment on it. Oh, it's ridiculous. If I'm Jacksonville, why do I want Trevor Lawrence? He's terrible. How many playoff games have you won with him? Oh, yeah, none. Or no, one that San Diego game where they were up and then he gave up all the points. Two people shot at Eagles Super Bowl championship parade. Well, that's great. Tyreek Hill is going to race Olympic gold medalist Noah Lyles to finally race sometimes. What does that mean? I would say, Tyreek, go join the Olympics and then you could race him. Otherwise, shut the hell up. Cap-strapped Dolphins release former Pro Bowler Mozart. Well, Miami's done. Why are they cap-strapped? They have no defense. You're paying Tag and Tyreek Hill. You're paying Tag, $40 million? and Tyreek Hill 30 million and Waddle, you're paying the wrong positions. You don't pay receivers that kind of money. Just like the Lions, you don't pay your right tackle 30 million and your left tackle 30 million. You can't do that. You have defense you have to pay. Chiefs give Travis Kelce March 14th deadline to decide playing future. It's February 15th. Kelce, his problem is this Taylor girl. He's focusing on her instead of playing. He's dropping passes. He looked terrible dropping that couple of passes in the Super Bowl. His concentration's gone. His passion's gone. He's into this Taylor girl. I don't know why. She's pretty ugly. But love is blind, as they say. But if I'm Kelce, I'd keep playing. He gets 15 million or so. Kellen Moore is bullish on the Saints, but non-committed on Derek Carr. This is a bad experiment. Kellen Moore is not a head coach. If Hurts is a top 5 quarterback and quarterback predicts more Eagles titles, well, he's not a top 5 quarterback. This is a case where you brought in Barkley and it makes the quarterback better. Sort of like Jared Goff. You gave him receivers, you gave him a good line, you gave him running. So anybody, Caleb could be a good quarterback in the Detroit system with all the options and the line that they have. Anybody can be. It still doesn't make him a good quarterback. I'm so sick of the Mannings. Will Eli Manning buy a piece of the Giants? Who gives a fuck? If I immediately turn either mute or turn off if I see a Eli and Peyton Manning commercial, I want to throw up. These are two just irritating people. Peyton Manning, shut the fuck up already. Go sell pizzas or insurance or whatever the hell you're selling. Whatever it is, I'm not buying. Jets 25 NFL mock draft roundup. Whatever. Giants mock draft. So here, Mickey Loomis. Saints coach search took longer than expected. Well, what does Mickey Loomis know about hiring a coach? Because we've already seen a couple of his last coaches were terrible. Jaguars interviewed Champ Kelly for GM job. Who the hell is Champ Kelly? The Jaguars have. Let's see who this Champ Kelly is. Jaguars interviewed Champ Kelly for GM job. Raiders assistant GM Champ Kelly. Oh, and the Raiders have done such a good job with their team. So, yeah, I can see that. All right, let's go to college football. Now we know Ohio State, Matt Patricia is their defensive coordinator. Are they out of their fucking minds? At what point do you think Matt Patricia's any good? Because I'd like to see it. He's a terrible defensive coordinator. He can't coach. We saw him with the Lions win, 2 games? And one was against New England, where New England laid down to give him a win. Texas recruits react to departure of popular running back coach Desard Choice. Gives a shit. He's a real good running back coach. The running backs did nothing. Players signed deal to be paid for likeness in video games. Well, just use NFL players. Why don't you use college players? Florida DB coach Will Harris reportedly to leave Gators for same position somewhere else. Who cares? LSU lands commitment from four-star offensive tackle Bryson Martinez. Who gives a shit? Ohio State finalizing deal with Matt Patricia. Are you kidding me? And you're making this guy your defensive coordinator. Oh, my God. Recruiting rumor mill. Feedback rolls in from big weekend visits. Who cares? Penn State offers top running back recruit Saquon Barkley's number. Oh, that'll make me play there. Can Matt Patricia make the transition? He can't make the transition from pros. He's terrible. What is it that you see that you want Matt Patricia? It's unbelievable. Former Ohio State football quarterback Jim Carsadas dies. He played in the 70s, I think. If you want proof USC football recruiting might be rising, you got it. Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's all about the Benjamins. ESPN's College Game Day predicts winner of Alabama. Who gives a shit? Evaluating Georgia's football returning production. Go Georgia. Wisconsin football. Several SEC programs in recruiting. Who cares? Where does LSU's Brian Kelly rank among active coaches? Who gives a shit? Does he cover the spread is all we care about. Oh, okay. PFF names best returning quarterbacks. Let's have a good laugh at that. Where does Cade Klubnik rank? He's Clemson's quarterback. You have no idea because you don't know. Let's see who's there. LSU, Garrett Nussmeyer. So where is it? Well, that's okay. We do our own here. Everything changes because your line changes in college. The line changes, your coordinators change, your coach change, your running backs change, and your offensive linemen change. You have no idea next year what to do, especially with all this NIL money. All right. So let's see. When is Daria's birthday? I got smart enough. I started putting their birthdays in their contacts. February 25th. Okay. So it's in 10 days. Hopefully I won't forget that. All right, so football, what do we do now? There's nothing we can do. We've got to wait for all these free agents to go to other teams and then try to figure out how good the other team is. This is what's making college football very difficult, as well as the coaches switching. So in the beginning, we start with who's still there. Is the coach still there? The quarterback still there. Colorado, they lost Prime Jr. So if they lost Prime Jr., who's their new quarterback? Is he going to be any good? They also lost the other wide receiver cornerback, which is no big loss. I don't know why they're so key on that guy in the draft. He's not going to play both positions. If he does, he'll get killed because if it was that easy to play offense and defense, more of the players would be doing it, right? But you can't play both ways in the game. Are you kidding me? So that's one of the problems. That's a wasted pick because I'm sure there's better pure cornerbacks at LSU and at Georgia and at Ohio State, and there's other better receivers. Are you taking the guy to play him at both positions? So you're going to play this guy I'm the New York Giants. He's going to be our cornerback and our receiver. Are you out of your mind? You're not going to play this guy a whole game on offense and on defense. That makes him useless because they got better cornerbacks and better receivers than this guy. So we'll have to, see who screws up and drafts this guy because he's not that good. He's good because he plays both positions, so we don't care. Anyway. So what we see is it's a ways away. As far as the pros, throw out Philadelphia is going to win the Super Bowl next year. You have no idea. You got to see what the other teams do. What's Kansas City going to do? They're just going to sit there and they lost and not do anything? My guess is they get rid of Kelsey because I think he's lost some steps. You've got this Gray. He's good enough at tight end. As long as you have Mahomes, you have some running backs, Hunt. You drafted some wide receivers. You're fine. You got a great defense. All you need is a couple of offensive linemen. And again, it was the matchup with Philly that really hurt Kansas City. Obviously, it didn't hurt against Baltimore. It didn't hurt against Buffalo. It didn't hurt against Cincinnati. They don't really match up well enough to beat you. So the only team that you really had a problem with was Philadelphia. Now, they say they did blitz, but they blitzed the whole game, kind of deceiving. It was like a four-man rush, but then there was two linebackers behind it, which you had no idea if they were coming. And then they would sit in the lanes and not let Mahomes run. So, they blitzed a lot. You didn't know who was coming. But Mahomes, I thought, left the pocket too early. He played terribly. In other words, instead of going back, taking 3-step drop and throwing, he would go back his 5, 6, 7 steps. And as they came, he ran in, and then they were just waiting for him, and they tackled him when he ran up the 5, when he stepped into the pocket because he's trying to throw long passes. Terrible game plan. Sorry, Andy Reid, you think you're at Philadelphia, don't you? Just a terrible game plan. Against Philly, it's got to be 3 steps and throw. Daniels put up 36 points on him. Did you watch that game, what Daniels did to him? Because they couldn't tackle Daniels. Now, I know Mahomes is no Daniels. He is kind of crafty, but when you don't know how to beat a team, you go to a team that beat them. Tampa Bay beat them, and Washington beat them. And that's even in the second game when Philly killed them, Daniels still got 23 points. You could have learned from that. But, you took away Barkley, which was nice, but you're getting beat either way, because if you don't take Barkley away, he'll beat you. If you take Barkley away, then Hurts, as bad as he is, was able to beat you. So, but that's what Kansas City has. They just couldn't run the ball. They have Hunt and Pacheco to run. Maybe they draft a kid. Maybe they get Scatterboo from Arizona State, and then KC wins another Super Bowl, because then you can't defend him at all. Now we need the running back. The professor's been saying this for 5 years. You can't abandon the run. You can't listen to analytics. It doesn't work. You don't even know if the math's real, and it just is ridiculous. So keep that in mind. Basketball, I have no idea. The difference is football's once a week, and we hate the Thursday games because there's no rest. You almost have to chart, well, how does a team play on Thursday after playing on Sundays? And some teams are going to be good and bad. But in basketball, you got back-to-back games. You got West Coast. You got 3 games in 4 nights, at least they used to. And what do you do with it? And that's really what you have to understand. I think a team like the Pistons had that big bench with Isaiah and Lambert. They could go 10, 11 players deep. So in that case, you'd bring in Vinnie Johnson more and give Dumars more of a rest. Isaiah never needed a rest, neither did Lambert. And you'd bring in Sally and Rodman, who are younger. And I think that's I don't know anybody. And right now, from what I hear and understand, is it's all 3-point shooting. And that's why nobody's interested. It's boring. What was great was Larry Bird, Magic Johnson with these no-look passes, and Kareem with the sky hook. Okay, that was fascinating. Shooting 3 points is boring as hell. Who cares? And then who's hot? And so then it becomes who's got the best 3-point shooting team. There's no defense being played because you can't defense the 3-point shot. Yeah, I can move 2 feet over to my left and I'm open, or 2 feet to my right. So it's really ridiculous. The whole sport is it's too stupid to watch. When I really don't like somebody, I'll say you're too stupid to talk to. Right? That's my line when I'm talking gold and the guy just, wants to talk about, clearly he doesn't get it. And I'll just say you're just too stupid to talk to. And I love it because they won't listen to reason. And I think that's what you have here in the NBA. It's too stupid to watch. Well, let's just take a bunch of 3-point shots because the analytics says even though we shoot 20%, we're going to miss 80%, that we should keep shooting 3 points because it's worth 3 points. And that's better than worth 2 points. Yeah, but if I drive in the lane and I'm in the paint and I got Kareem shooting sky hooks and I got Larry Bird and I got Magic, yeah, I'm probably going to hit about 80% in the paint in that area, and I'm going to score a lot more points. I don't see this when I said the scores on Yahoo. I don't see anybody with 150 points. I mean, they're all 115s, 110s. It's a little bit higher scoring, but it's too stupid to watch. So I don't know what I'll do with basketball. I can kind of look at it a little and try to get into it. So maybe starting Monday, I'll start trying to analyze and give picks on that. I will not charge because I have no idea what I'm doing. I have the concepts from football that I can use. We want to bet the defense, if the defense is even relevant in a 3-point jump shot game. But we'll learn that. So first we'll pick a few games and we'll go. Anyway, so football's done. The draft's coming up. We'll analyze the draft. Every team needs defense. As you saw, Philly wins the Super Bowl with defense. Frisco was there. Kansas City wins the Super Bowl with defense. The Ravens, when they had Ray Lewis, won. New England won with defense. The Cowboys won with defense. The Bears, the New York Giants with Lawrence Taylor. You win with defense. How many did Dan Marino win? Oh, yeah, none. How many did Dan Fouts win? Oh, yeah, none. The Giants quarterback, Connolly or something in the 50s and 60s, he won none. How many did the Packers win? Oh, yeah. And the Steelers won 150 Super Bowls with the steel curtain. And the only way they lost is when Franco Harris was hurt. Otherwise, they'd have won 6 straight. I am always surprised they lost to Denver in 77. I got losing to Oakland because Franco Harris was injured, but I really didn't get them losing to Denver and that team. And then Dallas destroyed them. The one Super Bowl there's 2 that I'm really confused we never had. San Francisco and Oakland in the 70s and 80s. I mean, you had Oakland beat Philly in 80. Frisco wins in 81. Oakland beats Washington in 83. The Niners win in 84. But you never had Oakland play that. And you never had Dallas play Oakland either. And Dallas was in the Super Bowl 15 times, kept losing to Minnesota, kept losing the Super Bowl. But you never had the Dallas-Oakland Super Bowl, which would have been fascinating. That 76 Oakland team against the 77 Cowboys would have been a great game. Dallas killed Denver and Oakland killed Minnesota, but it would have been great. Where was that in 77? The Dallas Oakland game. So the Oakland Frisco and Oakland Dallas Super Bowls. You always got Minnesota in the way or the others. Anyway, so betting sports, you're looking for the superstars. You have to money manage. You have to not think you're going to win every game. You got to stay away from these bullshit plays. How many yards will the guy get? What are they called? I can't remember. You've got to look at that. You got to avoid all that. Those are all Ponzi schemes. Well, they're not Ponzi schemes. They're scams. I mean, the odds on how many yards, Kelsey will catch in the Super Bowl. Do you think you're getting fair odds? Do you think you could even calculate the odds, what should be fair odds in that game? You have no idea. But you're making a bet with terrible odds. The odds on blackjack it should be 7-6, but I think they're down to 6-5, which are terrible versus 7-6. Or dice, at least you can figure out. Yeah, there's 7s and there's the 4 and the 10. Yeah, 2-1 is the right odds. You can actually see it, right? You can get 2-1, 2-2, 3-1, or 1-3, 2-2, 3-1. There's 3 ways to get a 4. There's 6 ways to get a 7. 6 by 3 is 2-1. That makes perfect sense. You understand that. What are the odds on, Mahomes throwing for 200 yards? You have no idea. Even if you make it looks like a good bet, your odds are not good. So you're running right into the Ponzi scheme where the odds are terrible. So stay away from these parlays or whatever they're called, profs, the prop bets. They remind me of people playing slot machines. People are afraid or they're shy or they don't want to. They just want to pull the thing and see if something comes out. That's people playing slot machines. They have no thought process. They don't know odds. They're shy, whatever it is, they're playing slots. They shouldn't be. And that's really the problem. So what you need is you don't want to play props because they're just like a slot machine. Well, I don't really know. I'll bet the Gatorade is purple or pink or green or red or whatever. I heard one guy on the radio say, well, I'm going to take the yellow green. I guess it's one color, even though yellow's yellow and green's green. And because Philadelphia poured it when they beat Washington in the championship game, so I'm sure they'll have the same color. That was actually halfway intelligent because it's not a blind pick. Picking the Super Bowl, the national anthem, yeah, I don't know. You'd have to know how long does the national anthem take, which I'm sure that's what the odds know that perfectly. So you don't know what your odds are. That's why I hate money line. You don't know and they don't really help you. That's what a teaser does. If you're laying 7, just tease it to 1 and you're paying 11-10. And, and it's not hard to pick a second game, but in the money line, you're shaving 7 points, but you're paying 200 to win 100. Well, I could do the same bet at 110 to win 100 than I am at 210 or 200 to win 100. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, just be careful of the props. The NCAA tournament's coming. I have very hard to watch college basketball as pros. That went down a long time ago when they were one and dones and they played and then they got drafted the next year and they always sucked because they only played 1 year. And the guys that were good, it was at least Magic Johnson played 2 years and he was in the time. I mean, you know who he was. Bird played 4 years. Kareem played 3 years. Walton 3 years. So you knew the guys and they played 3-4 years. And now it's 1 year and done. You have they're just 19-year-olds. You don't know how they're going to play against professionals. So you get your, Moses Malone, LeBron, Kobe. He played in Europe though. You get some of that, but really you just be careful with it. So whatever you're into, you have to figure it out. Use the logic. So we can look at basketball. Uh, we have to study college. There's so many teams, and then to fill out a bracket. I'm good at the first round, but then as it gets going, I like to read. So I would bet the individual games, and then here comes round two, and I'd bet the individual games. I hated the bracket because I had no idea. There's too much bullshit going on. So we'll see what to do with that. But we'll try to get into that a little bit. Anyway, buy your gold and silver. You realize that the market's up here and the price is down here. So if the price drops a little, it's because of derivatives. The market's up here. That's why we keep buying, because the market's here and the price is there. So don't worry, the gold will be over 3,000 an ounce because of all the demand from BRICS countries. And the real villain is that the dollar is worthless. So because this is worth zero, and yes, it doesn't matter if it's the reserve currency, which I doubt it is now. It's a strong currency, but it's weak. It's the rest of the currencies are all inflated because you got a bunch of Keynesians running all these countries into the ground, and they're all worthless. So any dollars you get are paper or have no backing are worthless. So understand that. If you get that concept, that drives you to gold and silver because it's real money, because they can't print it or inflate it. And again, you don't debase paper, you inflate paper. I know it's a real hard concept that these guys can't seem to understand. Well, they debased the currency. No, they didn't. They didn't take the gold out of the paper. It just shows you how stupid that most of these guys are, and that's all I can say. Anyway, that's what's going on. Costs are not inflation. Inflation is merely printing the money, and the more you print, you kill the value. That's what the inflation is. CPI is meaningless, doesn't mean a thing. Just ignore it. I don't even pay attention to it. The only thing I do pay attention to is gold and silver price. And I know it's fixed and I know it's not real, but it just tells me, oh, I can buy more because it's still so cheap. So again, gold, 20,000 an ounce is very, what's the word? Very reasonable. And silver at $32 a price an ounce is a joke. So silver, I'm saying 1,000 an ounce, just because the demand will come in and because the demand's here and the price is here. So eventually this has got to happen. I mean, it can't not happen. As much as JP Morgan wants to keep it down, to keep you into the stock market, what you going to do when the stock market starts crashing, which is going to happen. So keep your eye on it. We're in a recession, and only they don't want to tell you that. And Trump's always right. I mean, I'm getting sick of Trump. There never would have been a war if I was president. And you're like, okay, we get it. Why do you have to say it 52 times? Now, I'm not a Trump guy. I'm certainly not a communist, so I don't like Biden and Obama and those guys, and I hate George Soros. I do like conservatives, free market people, which we don't have. I don't know if Elon Musk bothers me. I don't trust him. And then Trump, I really don't trust him, but I got to trust him more than I trusted the other guy. But he keeps saying how smart he is. This would never happen. And there's been a lot of deaths in the war. Yeah, we know it's a war. So it's just the way he talks. He's always, it'd be like me. Well, I had the Super Bowl. I did pick Philadelphia in the over. Look at how smart I am. I did say it. And it's like, okay, dude, get on, get over it already. We know what you did, and there wouldn't be a war. We don't know there wouldn't have been a war. You can't make that comment because who knows? We don't know what George Soros would have done. All right, with that, go enjoy your Saturday. www.teaserking.com. I'll be on tomorrow. Watching some YouTube to try to get some more information for us. So I did find that Andy Scheckman, Mark McGuire thing. Mark McGuire show yesterday, I wouldn't waste your time. He had some guy on, Pete, Canadian guy who was just an idiot, who had no idea what inflation is. Just scratch your head going, why do you have these stupid guests on? There's one on Soros I showed you earlier in the week. Anyway, go have a good day. Relax. Enjoy. Just buy your gold and relax, or buy your silver. You got nothing to worry about. You're protected. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care and enjoy your Saturday.